Hey, you little sluts. Welcome back to Babblings. Hey. It's me, it's Allie, back with another Babblings podcast episode. I hope you little sluts are having a good weekend. I'm currently recording this on Sunday in the afternoon, and I'm so excited. This is the first time I've ever had coffee on Babblings. So raise up your glass. I hope you have a little tea or a drink. You know, usually I have a drink you drink. Or a coffee, or you have a J, light it up. Cheers to you. Let's get into the tea. Usually I record these at night, but I'm recording during the day because I'm changing up my posting schedule. So for the 10 people that care, I'm changing up my posting schedule because I realized that I think I want to do a blog post once a week. Every Friday, there's going to be a blog post. It might be a more in-depth personal essay that I've been working on. It might be a brain dump. It might be a live from the end times segment. It could be lists. It could be, who knows, just a diary entry. Every Friday, a blog post is going to go up. And then on Mondays is when the podcast is going to go up. The podcast, at the minute, I'm thinking is still going to be bi-weekly. But I've gotten into such a good space of being able to do it bi-weekly that now I think I can step it up, ramp it up, and maybe do it weekly. But I want to make sure I'm consistent for a minute with getting blog posts up every Friday and also having a podcast that I'm working on, which is a lot. But also I think if I have to scale back a little bit just on babblings and make sure that I'm trying to find the good balance with babblings between it being the more structured podcast format that I like, where I have a topic that I've been researching and presenting to you. But also Babbling started out as an audio diary, and I want to get back to that where I'm just telling you guys about my life. So having that good mix is something that I'm working to find. And also I'm still going to be doing the Babblings report. It's going to maintain as a monthly newsletter, and it'll correspond with whatever more serious podcast video that I do. And which, by the way, I'm thinking this month for April, the more in-depth podcast that I'm going to do is going to be about body image, weight loss, skinny talk, the parallels, or not even really parallels, but the overlapping Venn diagram that's really just a circle of white supremacy, fascism, and fat phobia. So that'll be coming sometime in April. I'm really excited because my birthday is literally 22 days away. I'm going to be 27. Can you guys believe? 27. I know you're what? You're that old? I'm hitting a weird phase though where when I go out, either somebody thinks I'm 18 or they think I'm 32. It's in a weird phase where people really cannot pinpoint my age, which I think is funny. I was at Safeway the other day and I was coming up the escalator, and when you're in public, you really have to have a mean mug on. In the city, you definitely have to give off the aura of don't approach me, right? And so I'm going up the escalator in Safeway. It's Friday afternoon. I'm on my way home from work. I'm just picking up some flowers and some wine and some treats because it's Venus Day. I'm going to do my Venus Day ritual and chant a few things, tell Venus I love her, put fresh flowers on the altar, yada, yada, yada. It's Friday. It's a me day. Friday is all about Venus and self-love and me personally. So I'm not in the mood to talk to anybody. I'm walking up the stairs and there's, usually people that have their table for whatever they're marketing, on the inside before you go into the actual Safeway. So right where the escalator comes up. And I'm coming up and this guy waves at me and I go, hi, and he as soon as I come up the escalator, he's grabs me, pulls me to the side, I want to talk, trying to do his whole spiel. I was also really high, so I feel I was just staring at him the whole time, trying to figure out what was the point of anything. That I couldn't understand anything that he was saying, but it was because I was high. It was because I was high. I was in a one-track mind. I did not plan to have this random conversation. Anyways, it was for Special Olympics, which I thought was interesting because he was have you heard of Special Olympics? Have I heard of Special Olympics? Yeah, I'm a live person. Are there people that haven't? Which then got me curious, I guess maybe are there people that don't know about Special Olympics? I guess, yeah. That totally could be true. But he was you're 21. I said, no, I'm 26. He goes, oh, you're 26? I go, yeah. And he goes, I'm like, okay, bye. So like, nobody can like pinpoint my age. And I feel like when I'm 27, it's going to be even more ambiguous. Who is she? How old is she? She's mysterious. You don't know. But she looks like she has secrets. That's kind of like the vibe that I go for. You can't pinpoint her age, but she's full of ancient wisdom and secrets. That's kind of like the aura that I like to give off. And I'm really excited to be 27. It's just weird to say. And I feel like I didn't, as much as I wanted to this year of being 26, reflect on how it's been 10 years since 16. Like, I feel like I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for 26 to be like, wow, it's really been 10 years since 16. So much has happened. So much has happened in my life since I was 16. And I'm a completely different person, but the same person that I was at the same time. And I think that's going to be the same thing with 17. I think it's interesting to like reflect on yourself a decade ago and to see the parts of you that are still there and that you can still nurture and still enjoy, but also those parts of you that have completely changed and hopefully opened up and not become colder and close yourself off more. Like for me, I feel like I've definitely bloomed in the last 10 years. I've gone through hell and it's been a lot of things, but I have also simultaneously these parts of me that have bloomed and I've gotten so confident and I just am so embracing and love aging. I know that it sounds crazy, but it just makes me feel so much more solidified as a person. And I think part of it is because like my personality and my age are starting to match up. When I was, 19, like I'm usually the youngest person in a room, which is interesting. I'm usually the youngest person in a work environment, and even in friend groups, typically I have often been my whole life the youngest one. I've always hung out with people that are older than me. And so it's been a hindrance because people are like, oh, she's so young, or people would be surprised by the way that I acted, that I think because of what my age was, and it didn't correlate. And so as I'm getting older and embracing and loving aging and loving feeling more and more like confident in myself, part of that is because I'm really starting to finally feel like my mind and my age are coming closer and closer to meeting up with each other. And that in itself just gives me more confidence because like, yeah, I'm still the smartest person in the room and I'm not necessarily the youngest anymore. And you can't try to put me down just because I am the youngest, even though I'm smarter than you. Put a little respect on my name now, over 25. It's like, no, like I'm an adult, even though it doesn't feel like that way sometimes. Like, no, I am. I'd be alive this long. I just really thought that I was going to die young. I remember having this conversation with my siblings one time and a different conversation with someone else and then being surprised by me saying that. And it's not me being dramatic or me, being funny. Like I literally did not plan for this long. I remember turning 23 and being like, oh my God, I'm going to cry. I remember turning 23 and being like, holy shit, I didn't ever plan this far. I don't know what I'm supposed to keep going. Like, I didn't think that I was going to make it this far. And for numerous reasons in my life, but even from tiny Allie, baby Allie, who hadn't experienced so much grief and death yet. I don't think I ever thought I was going to get a chance to like really live a life and what that would really be. And I know it sounds depressing, but it's not meant to be. I'm just being honest, which is funny. Sometimes I feel like people, sir, I'm sorry, my upstairs neighbor is moving and he's ruining my sentimental moment. Sir, please. Sir, what the fuck? I thought I was like safe, but maybe I'm not. Hold on. We were having this conversation, like, what did you want to do when you were younger? People, I would say things, like I would say, oh, I want to do this, or I could do this, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, a lot of times I was just like bullshitting, like lying so that people would leave me alone. I feel like a lot of my life I've spent lying. And now that I'm at this age, it's nice to feel like, no, I'm figuring it out. And I'm not going to lie about what I'm doing. I'm not going to lie about the fact that I have no idea what I'm doing and what I'm trying to accomplish and who I'm trying to be. I don't know. And that's like the fun part. And it's exciting and it's liberating to think that I'm going to turn 27 and I still am figuring shit out and I have time to figure shit out. And if I die, then I died figuring it out and I died being happy and joyful. And I'm just every year since I've turned 23, I feel this just overwhelming sense of gratitude for the fact that I can continue to wake up and I can continue to live a life and I can continue to age, and something that it's not even something that I didn't look forward to. It's something that I didn't cross my mind at all. To me, I was going to be forever young, memorialized, I didn't think that I would get this. I didn't think that I would get time. And I'm so grateful that I do have time, and I, want to take advantage of it. And I don't want to waste it being afraid of time. Let's go ahead and pull a card for you guys. I meditated a little bit on it earlier, cleared the energy, set some intention. Let's see what the vibes are. Wow, we have a really beautiful card for today. It's the Ace of Swords. So what do you guys need to know this week? What do you guys need to know? What do you need to know as you continue on your highest and best path? Now, obviously, don't take this if this doesn't resonate, but from the Ace of Swords, there is a truth within yourself. There is a clarity that you have found. There is an idea or maybe a communication with someone, and it is the truth, and it is honest, and it is real, and you need to accept it. You need to accept whatever this truth is, and you need to act on it, and it will continue to bring you more and more and more clarity. The Ace of Swords, and then, because on the bottom, and these actually came out earlier when I was pre-shuffling, Death, Two of Swords, Three of Wands. Okay, Death, Two of Swords, Three of Wands, Eight of Wands, and then it was the Six of Wands. And there, with the Death and this Two of Swords, like in the Three of Wands and the Eight of Wands and the Six of Wands, there is a transformation happening. There's a transformation, there is an ending and a beginning happening, and it is about this Two of Swords, especially because the Ace of Swords came out. It's about not being conflicted. It's about not keeping in your own way. It's about choosing the truth that you want for your life, honoring that that is the truth of what you want, to get out of this blocked energy, honoring that that is the truth that you want for the future, the bigger picture that you see. It's the dream, it's the goal, it's whatever that is that you see, and make action towards it, and you're going to be victorious. So I don't know who needs to hear that. There's maybe something to communicate. This is either something that has been communicated to you that has made a light bulb go off, or has broken something down to make you look at like the real clear raw picture and have a real understanding of something about yourself and about the future and goals and the vision you have for your life. Or you maybe need to communicate that to someone, or you need to communicate that to the world, or you just need to embody it and stand on business and be like, no, this is the truth. This is my truth. This is how I feel. This is the clarity that I have. This is the path that I want, and you're going to go for it. And with the Six of Wands, it fell with, it's still, I can't show you. Everything else fell like down, so like I can't see the cards, except for the Six of Wands. It fell up so that I can still see that it says Six of Wands. You're going to be victorious. Not much clarity about what this is about, but it's definitely something that has kept you stuck. With the Two of Swords, with the Three of Wands, it's definitely about like a bigger picture, longevity. I don't know where that's coming from. Down the road, or like a bigger picture or a bigger dream or like a bigger goal that you have. Being stuck with that, but like it's transforming with the Death card. And that's either because you got some truth from someone, or you realized the truth yourself. And don't be scared of it. Ooh, don't be scared of how you actually feel about something. Don't be scared about what you actually want, or the future you see for yourself, or the vision that you have. Like, don't be scared. Don't be scared of the idea of the project you have, or the communication you want to have with someone. Like, don't be scared. Death and transformation is not something to be scared of. It's something to be embraced. And I promise you clearly, whatever is going to happen, you're going to be triumphant. Maybe it won't be in the moment, especially with the Three of Wands. Maybe farther down the road, but standing in your truth and being honest with yourself and being honest with others is going to lead you to a path of victory and happiness and joy. So I hope that resonated with you. It resonated a little bit with me, but actually not really. I feel like I've been in this energy, which is interesting. I don't really feel like this was necessarily for me. And sometimes I really relate to the collective messages, but yeah, Ace of Swords. So I live in DC, right? And last weekend I was driving around a lot. I had some stuff to do and I was like in different parts of the city than I normally am. I was like more uptown. And there were a lot of protests going on. I think that I don't remember what it was called, but there were like, nationwide protests going on last week that were organized. But it surprised me because I was really focused on like some personal things that I had to do last weekend. And I was like, I forgot that there's like protests happening this weekend. And it was interesting because especially where I was, it was, there were all of these older, white, wealthy people out. And I love to see people mobilize. I love to see people organize. Protesting, I think, is our right and our way as like the public to be able to voice collectively like things that we are not happy about and like make a real demonstration. But there was just something that was bothering me. I don't know. It felt weird. Like it felt like, okay, well, good. I'm glad. But like, I don't know. There just felt something like weird about it. And then I saw this TikTok like during the middle of the week this week, and it was by the Sasha Whitney. And she was talking about how after the protest last weekend, somebody like that was white, obviously, made a Twitter post saying, well, I guess it's X now, whatever, saying that in the future, there should be more like bouncy houses and like more kid-friendly activities going on at protests. Definitely go watch the Sasha Whitney's video over on her TikTok. I've linked her down below. She gave some really insightful thoughts. And I don't want to just like recap what she said, but I totally agreed with what she said. And it got to the root of like what I was feeling, like this just like oddness and a little bit of like uncomfortableness about what I was witnessing. And she talked about in the video, and what I agree with, it's interesting to see this call for making protests more kid friendly when, as someone who protested in 2020 at a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests, it was not somewhere you would ever bring a child. This was not a safe place. It was a dress in all black. It's 2020, so we're obviously wearing face coverings, but like we're definitely hiding our features. We're not completely broadcasting what we're doing. Like, I won't even say where I was. I was not in DC. I was not in a major city during this time and when I was doing protests. And as we were coming up, before the protest even started, just as people were beginning to congregate together, the snipers were already on the building, the helicopters were already swirling, the tanks were already peeked around the corner. This was a very intense and tense situation and protest, not because of the protesters, but because of how the police and the city were preparing and reacting to us protesting. And it's so interesting too. I mean, that happened across the country, right? Where there were these extremely tense and dangerous things happening at these protests because cops and police force were being so aggressive in their tactics to like shut down what was happening. You would never have ever thought to bring a child there, right? And the Sasha Whitney talked about this, but it's just that contrast of those protests 2020 felt like war zones compared to the protests that I saw last weekend and what others saw and what that lady was commenting about. Oh, we should have bouncy houses next time, right? Because they weren't afraid. And that's what Sasha was talking about. There's still so many people that want to fight for their rights, fight for others' rights, fight for the right thing, but have still not deconstructed this entitlement and white privilege that allows them to create these movements and to organize so publicly in this way without fear. And it's crazy that you're going to bring we should make it even, easier accessible, which I'm not even going to really get into, because I do think in some sense it is important to expose children to their rights and what it looks like to mobilize and to protest and to do all of those things. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be there. And I would think you would have to, I wouldn't bring anyone younger than like 14 probably to a protest. And even that, is pushing it, because like you have to have, in my head, you have to have stamina and the ability to keep moving and the ability to operate safely and protect yourself. And what if you get separated? Like, I thinking about the moments that I've been in protests being almost ran down by like a tank, rubber bullets being flown, mace constantly being sprayed. It's the reaction that I need people to understand. The reaction of the system that we all live in to people organizing and protesting in order to support and protect Black and brown people versus how the system operated and responds to a majority white group organizing to protest policies that really just affect everyone, but like also like those white people have a large stake in, right? I saw a lot of signs about like Social Security and Musk and data and all, and like Trump like protesting, they're protesting his administration, and the way that the system was like, okay, I mean, yeah, you can do whatever you want to do. We don't really need to shut that. Like, this isn't going to really change anything. We know you guys are just going to come out. We don't really need to shut this down because like, this is like low stakes to us. But when the people organize and come out and say like in protest of how Black people are being treated in this country, that is a threat to the system, and the system acts and reacts accordingly. And the just juxtaposition of those two, that's what that feeling was that I was having. I realized it was this feeling of still being stuck in this system. And just like, while it's great to see people out, it just shows just the disparities, because ultimately, right, white people are not a threat to white supremacy. They're just another person to try to get onto your side. I don't know, and to be in such a privileged place and not even realize it to the extent that you publicly request bouncy houses and like more kid-friendly activities at the next, protest, proves that what you're doing is not actually a threat to the system. The system does not see it as a threat because they're not reacting as it is, which means, what are you really fighting for? Is this just, a vanity project, or are you really fighting for the rights of all people? I don't know. And definitely, like I said, go watch that TikTok by the Sasha Whitney. I didn't know about like all of the discourse, and I didn't know about the tweet, and so just saw her video, and I was like, what? Like, that was my reaction, was like, how entitled and unaware you have to be to think that way and then publicly say something like that. You have no idea like what sacrifice and like oppression and like fighting for the system and like being demoralized like really like means. You have no idea. You're just saying things. You're just performing. I was at a fundraiser recently, and it just reminded me of like what real estate taught me in my life. Real estate taught me so much, about like real estate. But real estate taught me so much just about myself and about how to like be a person and operate in society. Like, if real estate taught me anything, it taught me like how to have like perspective, but then it also taught me how to deal with money and not just budgeting or like it taught me like the amount of money I actually need to live a life and live like a decent life. And it's not as much as you think. Well, with the economy, we'll see. But it just taught me a lot about money, a lot about managing money, a lot about investment. It taught me a lot about like how far money can go. But then also taught me a lot about giving money, like especially at the brokerage where I was at. Being charitable was like non-negotiable. Like, we were giving it like, if real estate taught me anything, it taught me like you have to give to get. And if you get, you have to give. If you're going to a fundraiser, you're contributing to the funds. Like, if you're going to a charity, like, you're going to contribute to them. If you're in a small business, you're going to buy something, even if it's small. You are going to put money in people's pockets that are going to do the right thing. And real estate taught me not to hesitate to do it. because you believe it's the right thing to do, and the money will come back to you. And then also real estate really taught me like perspective and like mindset. Like I said, the brokerage where I was at, I love my brokerage. Really taught me about mindset and about just being like a kind, like just being like an authentic human being. Really just taught me mindset and perspective and what can happen when you shift your perspective or you shift your mindset. The coaching that we did or the sales training that we did was ninja, and like ninja training actually really focuses mostly on mindset and not just like salesy, techniques. And that's where I learned how to like retrain my brain and how to like pay attention to the thought patterns that I had and how to like create new ones. It taught me about writing down affirmations and like doing that daily, and like how that can help you really focus on a goal and understand like what you're going after and not get lost in like the minutia. But then also there's a bit, I think, for me of like this like energy and tension setting when you're constantly affirming and writing the same thing over, that puts you in a really good place to be able to manifest. And then daily gratitudes, which I know that you guys are going to be like, whatever. And actually, this is funny. I'll link a like personal essay that I did that correlates with this. It's called Unfortunately, I Am in a Place of Daily Affirmations, from when I was really depressed a couple months ago. I'm not trying to sound like a self-help guru. Writing down 3 things you're grateful for every day will change your life. I know it sounds dumb and it might take a minute, but when you write down what you're grateful for, and a lot of times I'm grateful for coffee is usually one thing I put down a lot, because I am usually grateful for my coffee, and it'll take you a minute to kind of like come up with things, and sometimes it'll be more obvious things, and sometimes it'll be like, I'm just grateful that the sun is coming out today. Finding 3 things that you are grateful for changes how you operate through the rest of your day. Kind of like how having a morning routine does. It's like operating from a place of having like a full cup versus an empty cup. When you're operating from the beginning of your day with an empty cup, you're like trying to find things that fill it, and then one thing goes wrong and it's like, well, I have nothing in my cup, so nothing is going right, and like tanks my whole day, or to an extreme or to a lower extreme. But when you have a full cup, like, you're not one craving and trying to find things to fill it with subconsciously. And right, a lot of this is like subconscious too, and it'll take a minute for you like doing it over time to like really see the difference, because a lot of what I'm talking about is not something that we're necessarily conscious about. This is another thing that I really learned with real estate, about how most of us are on autopilot, like 90% of the time, whether it be how like the route we take to work when we're driving in our car, or if we're walking, how we log into our computer, how we cook our dinner, like how we go to the bathroom, how we take a shower, how we, put on our makeup, how we get dressed. A lot of those things are autopilot. Even if they don't look exactly the same every day, our brain is on a track to keep us moving. And we create these habits and patterns without even knowing it. And our brain goes on autopilot really just to keep us safe. A lot of why our mind and body operate the way that they do from second to second, but also incident to incident, is in order to like protect us and out of like survival. And because it would be exhausting if we were really consciously, constantly making every single choice every single second of what we were doing. It'd be exhausting. So like, like when you drive to work, you're like really thinking about what you're doing. You might be thinking about it, but you're not like really. Your brain is just going on autopilot. And so a lot of times we're on autopilot, and that's what I mean, like subconsciously. So like you're subconsciously, you don't even realize that you're trying to like fill your cup and getting upset, like I'm just using this analogy, until over time you realize what it's like to operate from a full cup. And it's a completely different experience. Those little things that might get you down, they don't get you down. You're less anxious, you're less irritable, you're less easily getting annoyed. It forces you to be present in this moment, not last night, not later on today, not in 3 weeks, not tomorrow. Right at this second, what are 3 things you're grateful for? Take a minute, See if you can think of 3. Right in this second, I am grateful for my coffee that I had today. I'm grateful for the breakfast that I made myself this morning and that I was able to nourish my body. And I'm also grateful I'm looking at my roses right now that I got on Friday. And I'm so grateful to have those flowers in my life. And those are 3 things that like I'm grateful for. And I'm here and I am present and I'm grateful for my life. Once you're recognize those things that you're grateful for, it makes it harder to give so much like power to the things that you're ungrateful for. You know, like having all of these things in my home that I enjoy and bring me peace and that I'm so genuinely grateful to have for in my life makes the fact that like I don't really like my actual living arrangements that much. But you know what? I can deal with it and it's not going to weigh on me and it's not going to like ruin my like year of life that I live here because I have all of these other things that I'm grateful for. I'm not going to be so deterred or so ruined by not having a friend, you know, show up in my life in the way that I would like them to because I'm grateful for all of these other people and I recognize all of these other people that do show up in my life in ways that I want to. And so it does not completely skew. It doesn't outweigh the good. The bad doesn't outweigh the good. But you won't be able to recognize that the bad doesn't outweigh the good until you start tapping into what's good. You got to tap into what's good. We take a lot of our life, we take our body, our life, our things for granted and want more instead of sitting around looking and saying, wow, you know, even right now, I'm so grateful for this blanket and I'm so grateful for this couch and I'm so grateful for the things that I have. I don't feel like an empty cup or a void to try to fill. I don't feel like I need to buy 70 things to fill that void. I don't need to go on 5 dates that week to fill a void in my heart. I don't need to, you know, climb this career and success ladder to fill this like void of like success that I feel in my life. I feel very successful. I am grateful, and not all the time. You know, I'm not trying to like, you know, float my boat or be a bitch. I'm just saying it changed my life. And so I would love to challenge anybody to start writing down their gratitudes every day. What are 3 things that you're grateful for? And it is going to change your perspective on your life and how you enjoy your life. It's going to change it. Do it for like 3 months, and I promise you're going to feel a difference. Not right away. And it might not even be that huge in 3 months. It might take like 6 months. But like doing that consistently or like as consistently as you can is going to change the way that you operate in the world, and also is going to put you in a more abundant like headspace that's only going to allow more abundance to come into your life. Not to get too like manifest queen on you, but I'm just saying. I mean, take me for example. I mean, if you know me, you know my life. I have like a beautiful perspective on life and I keep pushing and like I don't let shit get me down, right? You know, like, so if you know me, you know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's because of these things that I have changed and that I've grown. And one of those things are writing 3 daily gratitudes down. So thank you, real estate. Thank you to my brokerage. Bless up. I loved real estate, except that it felt really just like superficial and like a money chase. But I got some really beautiful like life things out of it that I know that's why I was placed in that position. I got all of these life things. It completely changed how I was able to operate socially and talk to people and have conversations with people and just like help me blossom as like the secret social butterfly that I was. It helped really bring out the Sag rising out of me and helped me just completely shift my perspective. Life is trial and error. I'm not always in this amazing headspace. Like, tap into the article below, right? Like, not article, into the essay that I wrote below. Like, I'm not always in a good place, but this is something in my toolbox that like helps bring me back and like center me. And I feel like people don't talk about it enough. Just gratitude, living in gratitude and being grateful to be alive can like change your life. All right. I hope everybody has an amazing rest of their week. Make sure to check babblings.substack.com on Friday for a new blog post, and we're just going to keep doing it with the podcast. I'm loving it. I thank you for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check the description for all of my links. And yeah, bye guys. Thank you for watching and or listening to Babblings. This podcast is produced, hosted, edited, and sometimes written by yours truly. That's me, Allie Ann Reed. Make sure to check out babblings at substack.com for more babblings, including blog posts, journal entries, podcast episodes, and the Babblings Report, which is our monthly newsletter. Goodbye.